Hello everyone, welcome back to Football Manager 2020. We're in for a little bit of an easier run today after the setback of last time, but it is going to be a challenge to settle in our new team now that we don't have Domini anymore. That was a painful hit. For our matches today, we have Hearts of Oak in the Continental Cup where we're coming in with a 4-0 lead, so even though it's an away match, the big challenge is just figuring out who I want to send to Ghana to play in 31 degree weather. Although that forecast will probably change before the match. It's Ghana in the spring, so late spring, so there's a good chance it's not going to change for the better. It might be even hotter. And then following up, we have a league match against Maritzburg United, which Maritzburg aren't that bad. We should be able to win it, but they might make a fight of it. And I can't be super comfortable coming into that match given the unstable nature of our team. All it'll take is one or two injuries at Hearts of Oak, and all of a sudden winning any match might be beyond us. We actually looked really good against Pirates, even though we lost that match. Losing to Pirates, there's no shame in that. We were coming in with our first attempt at our new team, and not one person underperformed. Every single person had a good match. So I really can't be upset about that, even though I wanted to not lose there. I never really realistically thought we were going to win that game. And the team did better than I expected. Mitsilia from the under-21s became the player of the season for the under-21 season, so that's nice to see. You can see how close we're getting to the end of the season. Makwakwana, yeah, we're going to need to hang on to him. Let's see if I can actually get a contract through with the board, because we have to promise him a big pay raise to almost $500,000 a year, and we're painfully far in the hole. Yeah, the board do not like what we're offering him, but he's willing to take, at least consider, the reduced offer from the board, so that's good. We lost Kemp for 2 weeks on the Canadian side of things. That's fine. I've played Kemp in under a number of teams, and he's okay, but he's not a devastating loss, and I don't think we have any international matches in the next 2 weeks anyway. Don't love the idea of putting Fountain in for Margeman, but maybe Margeman will be rested by the time we actually have to name the match day team. So I'll go with this for practice. It would be nice to get Fountain some practice in that second row. He hasn't been played a lot at all, so it'd be nice to get him some practice as a deep lying playmaker. He's alright. He's pretty good at that, actually. It was just the old position that he was terrible. He's still a 2.5 star, but we're going to have to get used to that, because with the reduced wage budget we're going to have next season, that's just going to be a fact of life. And like him and Tao being our only 2.5s coming into this match, I've actually got a pretty strong team for practice. No surprise, we're confident going into this match. We're up 4-0. They're going to have to score 5 times to beat us. And that's not happening. We haven't been scored on 5 times once since we've had our current goaltender. What a shock. Our finances continue to be terrible. Although it's concerning that we're at negative $244,000 for profit with the $1.2 million payout we got for Domini. Maybe that's not actually registering yet for our finances, because that should have taken a pretty sizable chunk out of our debt. I guess we do have international matches coming up because I'm getting reports on them. Oh yeah, World Cup's coming up. So that's exciting. We're going to have the World Cup to fill some of the off season this year. Actually, it might contend with some of my league matches for South Africa, which could be challenging. Yeah, I don't want to commit to calling this guy up. I don't recognize the name, but I'll take a look at him sometime. By which I mean I won't, because the mechanics for taking a look at someone in this game are miserable. But if I didn't actually have to watch the simulated match, I would totally have gone and checked him out at a league game. That's an element I hope they fix for future games going forward, is that you don't actually have to watch the entire match. You can just get a report like one of your lone players. What the fuck? We'll send a scout to Germany. We still have money in the scouting budget. Sure, this guy's South African. I think he's good. Even if he's not, I just need to be looking at South African players, because the problem with international, like severely limited numbers of international. But my scouts still want to go far. We've been getting like Ghana, Sweden, more Ghana. Another German they want to look at. Czech. I don't even think I have these guys scouting in Europe. Like, I've told them to look at South African matches. I keep not taking the South African Cup off the places to scout, to try to make them scout in South Africa. But they just want to scout Europe. I might have to take a pretty serious look at that scouting team during the off season, because they're very committed to regions that I can't really field players from. The press think I should be dropping Harbour because he's been playing bad for Toronto. It's nice to see no one doing badly at training. It means I can manage morale less than usual, but I think I'd rather have everyone doing well at training than to be able to manipulate morale a little bit. Who did they want to go to the under-19 match? Mattia, whom I haven't played in months, and Saketlong. Sure. Saketlong is not even eligible for this tournament. I don't think he was in the club when I named my conference club cup. side. Nomad continues his streaky form on loan. He's not playing terribly well. These guys will do badly. I'll try to encourage them, and then they'll do well for a little bit, and then they'll start sucking again. They're not getting consistent results at all. Oh wow, the weather actually cooled off a bit. We're below the danger mark. Like, realistically, 29 degrees would still suck to play in. But the heightened risk of injury seems to trigger at 30 degrees. So we should be alright for not a terrible risk of injury. They don't want any changes to the team, and given our positioning, I'm alright. Matenge was not fantastic. Tau's not fantastic. Fountain's not fantastic. Mirosavic's not fantastic. Clearly the game day assessment is much worse for this team than it was when I set it up earlier in the week. But as I said before, we're up by 4. I'm pretty happy with this. It lets me rest a lot of my starters for the next league match, which is more pressing. Even with the temperature being below the danger threshold. It just means that I don't have to worry about a lot of key players getting injured. I kind of wish I wasn't starting McQuaquina, but I don't have any other good strikers right now. Like, either of the other players I'd want to put in are injured, and I could play a really bad striker and just treat this like a complete holding position game. But I don't like doing that. I always try to win by at least 1. Like, I don't care if we score a lot here, but I would like to at least win by 1. Mostly for team morale. Because even if we win the tie between the two legs by a lot, if they come in and lose to a team this much below them or draw them, it's going to be a pretty serious morale hit. So I do want to win this game as opposed to just coasting on our existing score. I just don't care if that doesn't happen. Or, I'm not going to say don't care, but it's not a huge deal if this doesn't happen. It's mostly just a concern for lowering morale going into the league game. Every game is important in some way. I mean, if Nidlovu or Kwakwana go down in this game, we'll know exactly how important this game was all of a sudden. Knock on wood. I'm not surprised that we're not dominating. I mean, it's only 6 minutes in, but I'm not surprised we're not looking as dominant as we did in the last leg. We're away. I've fielded a weaker team, and they're playing very defensive. The Kwakwana might have been offside there. Apparently it was not, though. That's just a normal goal kick. Another factor against us in this match is it looks like this stadium has a very small pitch. Like the last time we were in Ghana, We're having to deal with a cramped pitch, which for wing play is not ideal. I've been harping on this point a lot lately, so I'm sure you're aware of my thoughts on that. Looks like we got a penalty there. They're going to VAR, though. This might get overturned, but it's a rough spot where they didn't let us play it out. Like, if this isn't a penalty, but it does go our way, but it was a penalty. Should have looked at who were having taking penalties. I don't really want Tao doing it. But I didn't notice the ex-player is taking the penalty box come up. I think I was looking wrong, in the wrong place when it happened. He got us the goal, though, so no concerns there. It's only his third of the season. He's not one of our better strikers. He can play at striker, but he's close to a last choice. It was quite the wall of fans. This might be our best attended match we've had all season. It's in a much larger stadium than any. I think there's one this big in South Africa, but it doesn't tend to get filled because the team that has it is pretty terrible. That was almost a nice goal. Don't love Williams getting a yellow card. Oh my god, they actually scored on us. But it's gone to VAR. This might be offside. And it is. That's how they got us so open. They got it offside. Had me a little worried there. I don't want... Williams needs to be careful, though. I don't want to risk losing Williams going into the final. Tunkara got a goal assisted by Safema, so now we're sitting pretty comfortably. We're up 2 goals for this. They need 7 to win, which they're not getting. So we've won this. We're through to the final. But those purple shorts look horrible. But even without that, we should be able to get the win I wanted to get from Raul's sake on this game. So when I start making substitutes, I can be pretty harsh on bringing it off top players. Because like Williams is a prime candidate for getting removed, just because I want to have him for the final. I don't want to pull Nudlovu because I like to keep my goaltender the same unless they get injured. Mirosavic is a strong contender to get pulled. Matenjwa, Mkwakwana. Any of the guys that might show up in the league match. Especially if Mkwakwana puts this away here. I'm going to have to be pretty... Well, I'm going to be very willing to pull off good players. Doesn't look like anyone, at least right now, no one's playing badly for the team. That can change in the next, 30 minutes, but, at least right now, it doesn't look like I'm going to have to yank anyone for just playing badly. which actually makes my subs harder. Because if people were playing terrible, it would be pretty easy to just decide to pull them. But right now, I've got to weigh fatigue. I've got to weigh who's just good that I want to have in the next league game. And I've got to try to get young up-and-comers playing time. Because I'm going to need to lean on them when I have to fire a lot of these good players for being too expensive. Sinago got that, his third goal of the season, assisted by Kwakwana. And somehow Sinago has a completely gray beard despite being like 20. That boy's genetics are not kind to him. Sinaga is one of the players I'm actually keeping an eye on, though, because I don't think he's costing me too much. So he might be necessary. I'm not sure which way I'm going to end up having to go with the team. Of course he gets yellow because I'm talking him up. But I'm not sure which way I'm going to have to go with the team. Like, either I have to fire pretty much everyone who's good and field a much worse team next year, or I have to fire everyone who isn't good and just pray we don't take any injuries at all. I'm hoping for the latter because it gives us a better chance of long-term success. But it's high risk, high reward. The safe bet is definitely firing the expensive players and doing a slow rebuild. Part of it's just going to be based on seeing what the board's expectations are for next year. If they tell me, if we get to the end of the season, they're like, yeah, I want you to win the league next year, I'm all of a sudden going to have to get rid of all the bad players and gamble, because there's no way I'm winning the league on weak players. No one's really that tired either. This match is actually going relatively well. So I think I'm going to take Adam off because he's another one I want to have available midweek. He's not having a stellar match. He's feeling complacent. He's the most tired of the people who aren't into green ratings. And I really want to get Foster some practice. Oh, that looks bad. We might be getting Sinago red carded there. Oh, that's really bad. So I'm going to have to shift Mirosavljevic over here and go for 3 at the back. Doesn't make him any worse. Foster's not fantastic. So all of a sudden that change is really bad. But I made it right before the red card. And that was not a strong defense from Nedlovo. The team's flustered. The good thing is we scored 3 goals before this happened. There's only 30 minutes left in the game. But everything I was saying about how this match was going really well is suddenly out the window. This means Sinago will not be available for the final. McQuaquina's getting yellow carded now. And they scored a goal. This one will stand. Oh, no. Oh, it's an own goal off Matenjwa, yeah. Things are just completely falling apart for us. This is what I was afraid of with this game. These are the dangers with these seemingly super winnable matches. I'm going to take Adam off for Foster. Wait, did that change not go through before? Yeah, I think it removed my change before. So I played Adam 10 minutes longer than I wanted to. I know this would give me a chance to take it back, but I wouldn't have taken it back. That should have gone through. I just didn't notice that it canceled it with the red card. So Mirosavic is the sub I'm actually going to make now. I'm going to take him off for Shangassi, I suppose. It's going to make our defensive line even worse, but Mirosavic's starting to struggle, and I need to get Shangassi comfortable in that position. We're playing super defensive, so it should start to reduce the chances that Hearts of Oak actually get us another goal on us, but I mean, we're also playing terrible. We've just completely fallen apart since that red card. I could have sworn it showed Foster on the pitch when I had to adjust for that red card. Anyway, Shangassi, despite being shown as being a good central defender, is friggin' atrocious at that position. Yeah, but he's got a weird skill set. If you look, he's great as a striker or a central defender. Nothing else. And I never use him as a central defender, which is why he's terrible and not comfortable in it. But I'm heading into a much smaller team next season, so I need to get a minute. Alright, we're going to take McQuaquin off. I'm not risking losing him for the final. We can put Nick Selly in for him. He's really not good as the striker. He's better than the Shangassi is at central defense. But he's not very good there. But this is more of a don't lose the good striker before the final. Well, it was messy, but we got the win. And Tao made his 100th appearance in that match. I'm going to yell at Sanago in private, not in front of everyone else, but which unfortunately means it's not going to actually register in the game because there's no mechanic for doing that I've found. But that red card cost us dearly, and he needs to know about it. But I also am not going to embarrass the guy in front of everyone else. So we're through to the final. Now it's just who are we playing against. Super Sport. So it's an all South African final. Although we are playing the match in Mali. And Sinago is suspended for that match. I don't need to watch the highlight again. But that was a chance for me to talk to him, but I wasn't really paying attention because I was talking into this. Tunkara was the player of the match. I didn't notice him doing much, but sometimes that's the way it goes. It's the people that are active in the background. I was really hoping we weren't going to get Super Sport again in the final. That's a little boring. We've played them a bunch lately, but yeah, I'm really not happy about that. No one played that bad. And even though we didn't score nearly as well, we dominated that match. So I can't be too upset. Like, we played well. The big issue was just that there was no focus, and they were able to shut us down pretty well because of the small pitch and them playing very defensively. Once we went defensive in return, nothing was happening. Oh, Lungu has been called up by Zambia. That's an issue for lower ranked team or youth teams. I don't play Lungu in the main club. Suboptimal that he's going to be away during the final. I don't think he's even eligible to be called up to the final, but it would be nice to be able to consider him. Yeah, this looks decent. Gonna have to tweak some people's ability positions. Adam's really not comfortable as fullback there. We know that. Adam's the definite weak link. Not loving how Mirosavic's looking lately. Fountain, Sefema, Tau. Her team is getting pretty battered. And Maritzburg are favored. So, this is going to be a tough one. McQuaquana agreed to his new deal. That's good. Even after I had to make some pretty big cuts to it to keep the board happy because we have no money. He agreed to his new deal, so that's nice. So we're going to have that. At least next year we're going to have one solid striker for sure. He might have to carry the team on his back, but we're going to have one solid player. More television money coming in. Patemis. I don't know who you are, so... Oh, you're the guy I was supposed to keep an eye on, that they thought was doing well. Well, guess I don't need to worry about him. Traore's not back from his twisted ankle. So, no backup on striking. Pretty drastic change in conditions from the last match we played in. It's 15 degrees colder. Nice conditions, though. Pitch is kind of rough, so that's a problem. We might pick up some injuries through that, which we can ill afford right now. No changes to the team, so I really hope I can get someone in at left back during the off season, because Adam cannot be carrying the weight there, and there's no way we're going to hang on to Williams through this off season. Oh, you can see how battered this pitch is, especially around the goals. This is what our pitch was looking like a couple of years ago. But fortunately, it hasn't taken a pounding like that again, because I don't think it could survive another season like that, honestly. It was just getting hammered one year. I think at OK pitch is where you start increasing your chance of injuries. So this one does have a heightened chance of injury for us. Nice goal from Sefema. Hello, Ryan. I assume that's you. Hang on, I'll share the screen. If Discord wants to actually work. Yes. There we go. You can come in and watch me score a ridiculous goal. Unfortunately, the team I brought was kind of shit. Yeah, I'm not favored in this match. And I'm stuck playing Adam at left back, and he's pretty terrible. So I'm hoping to get the win. I can usually beat Maritzburg, but they're tough this year. I'm coming up to the end of the season. Actually, it's end of May. We just right before you joined, we just made it to the final of the African Cup. Although one of my promising young players who I was talking up in the moment it happened got himself suspended for it. And I'm still bitter because one of my key players got bought by the Saudis last episode. Yeah, I'm not happy about that because I was talking about how I could I lost most of my strikers to injury, and I was talking about how I could build up build the team up and use him pretty heavily because he could go in at striker. Second goal from Mardsman, and everything would be fine. And then I opened my email, contract offer from the Saudis. They ended up paying me 1.2 million for him, so there's that. But still, I would have rather kept him. Oh yeah, because of that, I was able to give my one remaining healthy striker a new contract. So at least I'm not completely screwed for next season. As it is, he's been starting every match for like the last month, so the poor guy's probably exhausted. Oh, we're we're not favored in this match, and we're just destroying these poor fuckers. I think they're mad because Hearts of Oak kind of embarrassed them in the last game. Like we won it, but we got a guy red carded. They actually scored on us. Everyone was just kind of dog fucking around for half the match. I was talking about how they weren't looking that great, even though the numbers were fine. They just their heads weren't in the game. And I was talking about how I was going to tear some of them down in the dressing room later, and I think it worked. I mean, I couldn't actually tear them down because there's no mechanic for like a private meeting to tell someone to buck up because they're not playing well. Well, there is if they're actually like you get a report about them not playing well, but you can't just go in and do it on your own. And so I wasn't able to actually do it, but I was saying how like as a coach I would have, and the team seems to be responding as if that happened. So I imagine the game actually accounts for stuff like that happening in the background. It just doesn't make you sim at all. It's a nice position though. We need to win this match. So I'm pretty happy because this year is my best chance to get a win in the league, probably for the next couple. And we lost to Pirates last game or last session. Everyone played awesome, and it was only a 1-0 loss. The first game I was having to adapt to a new lineup, but still losing to the first place team when you're trying to beat them takes a lot of momentum off because they got 6 points on us. And we tend to kind of fall apart towards the end of the game. Like, they're not looking nearly as dominant now. Maritzburg's starting to come back into it, but they're probably not going to be able to get 3 goals on us in the next 30 minutes. Especially when we're playing like this. Do I have anyone to bring in for? Foster, I think, is just as bad as Adam at that position, but I'm going to put him in. I can't risk Adam getting red carded. And Maritzburg have used up all their subs, so if anyone gets hurt, they're screwed. No, Foster is actually slightly better than Adam in that position. He's still terrible, but slightly better. You never want to be starting someone with a useful rating, and that's what I had to do this match because I have no left back. I haven't had a left back for 2 years. Because once again, the Saudis bought all of them in the course of one season. That's part of why I get so salty whenever they go rummaging through my roster. Because I just don't have the money to compete with the oil nations. Like the Saudis, Qatar, and Egypt, all of them can just throw stupid amounts of money at people. Because, like, let's be honest, Dlamini was a key player for my team. He's not worth $1.2 million. They just threw that amount of money at him because it doesn't matter to them. They're fucking rich. And I can't compete. It just shuts me completely out. No, even when had a board that actually financed things, like a big contract was 500,000. They were due for that. I wouldn't be shocked if they get another one in by the end of the season or by the end of the match. That's why I was happy to run up 3 early, because I know we fall apart towards the end. I'm trying to get them somewhat familiar with Foster in that role. He's more of a right back, but I have too many of those, so I'm trying to train some of them over to left back. Oh, here we go. Safema making something happen. I think we're in a good enough position. I'm going to take Walker off. He's one of my absolute key players, but I've been using him a lot. And he's all right on the stamina, but I want him rested because I have the cup final in 3 days. So Matench was another player that's not fantastic, but he gives me a better chance of winning the African Cup. And he's apparently got them scared because they just double teamed him. Sometimes just fresh legs with only 10 minutes remaining is enough. As proven by him getting his first goal, I think, ever. It's definitely his first of the season, but I think that was his first one ever. We'll see at the end of the match. Everyone's playing great. I'm going to take Siasi off. This is going to make me actually do some tweaking to try to get Melula playing well in a comfortable position, but I want to keep Melula playing a little bit if possible. Oh, and it's bugged and it's not getting rid of the Matenjwa goal. No. Can I put Sinag? This is how I do it. My defensive line is now pretty bad, but it's only 10 minutes left. They'd have to score twice to tie us, or 3 times to tie us, because we got that other goal just now, and it just gets people playing time. The only way they're going to get better is if I actually make them play sometimes. Yeah. And a lot of these guys that are like 2 stars right now, there's a good chance I'm going to have to use them next year. So I'm hoping to boost them up a bit because they're the guys I'm not paying a lot. And I was saying before you hopped on, either I have to fire everyone who's good. Oh, nice. Tenj was just making a show to prove me wrong now. But either I have to get rid of everyone who's good to try to cut costs, or I have to fire everyone who isn't, and I'll just have like 15 players that I'm trying to ride for the entire season. And I'm not going to know which one I have to choose until I get what the board expects of me next year. But I need to be ready that a lot of the players that I'm not paying much money have to carry the team. It's finally figured out I made that substitute. I actually thought they were going to score there. I think this has perhaps been the team's best performance all season. We've had better scores, but those are against bad teams. To beat a team that was favored by 5 goals is pretty impressive. And no one got hurt on their shitty pitch. I mentioned that because I'm starting to see all the footprints worn in it from the match. It's just barely into the level where it's more dangerous for players, but once you're playing on okay or worse pitches, the chance of injury goes up. And we close with a 6-1 win over a team that was hugely favored going into it. 25th appearance for Nidlavu. All of those were this season, I think. That's just, I've played him every game this season. He's my goaltender. Margeman 175th. Foster 50th. So no, that wasn't Matendra's first ever goal. He must have gotten one for his old club. Because I know... And I must have subbed him in last season and then forgot about it. Somehow, in spite of that performance, we've fallen... Oh no, it just didn't update the scoring. I was going to say, it was showing that we had fallen to 4th place. But, I was predicting 3rd, and it's still tight, because, we're tied with... We're only beating, Super Sport on goal differential. Who are, by the way, our opponents in the African Cup coming up. It's not going to have any bearing on the league positions, but they beat us in the league this season. Time to get berated by one of my players. That was the second one of the episode. Of course, yeah, that went about as well as I expected. Hey, I know we have in your contract that we're going to pay you more money, but would you be okay if we just don't? So, next time, we're going to have... Yeah, I've never had that work out, but it must be possible because I don't know why it would be in the game if it just never worked. Like, just don't put it in. So it's got to be possible, but just unlikely. Anyway, next session we're going to have our African final against Supersport, who are basically exactly at our level as we saw from the league table. So we're going to have to travel up to Mali for that. And then we're taking on Tux at home, which should be a massacre because they're a university side. We're at home. And they are currently... Where are they in the league? 14th in the league out of 16 teams. So that should be rather one-sided. Yeah. Well, you missed the part earlier where I was saying how even these little matches can be bad. I mean, the Heart of Oak uh, semifinal that I played right before you hopped on, Ryan, we lost one of our key players for the final because he got himself suspended. And we got really lucky that the weather forecast was off by a single degree, because if not, we would have been playing in dangerously hot weather and our injury chances would have gone way up, which could have just totally derailed the rest of my season, despite going into a match against Hearts of Oak already up 4-0 was like the epitome of a missable match. But yeah, we've only got 5 matches left. 6 matches left for the season, plus the World Cup. Yeah, because actually I need to check when's that thing. June. All right, so that'll be after the season. But then we've got the World Cup coming up, where I'm just gonna get my dick kicked in. I've got Iran and Wales. Like, it's not gonna be pleasant. If we win these games, it's going to be pretty impressive. But I'm gonna try. And we continue to have depressingly terrible finances. This is where the new board took over, by the way. The only difference is the amount of money the board was willing to finance me. I went from being positive $5 million to $8 million in the hole with basically no changes in my spending. I think I hired like 2 new players here, and that's what this drop is. And then everything else is just that the new board decided to not fund us. Yeah. It's a pain in the butt, but for a coach, but as a player, it makes it way more fun. Because I'm really going to have to work next year. Like, this season that we've had recorded has been the easiest season I've perhaps ever played in Football Manager. I've had almost no key injuries. Like, even the 2 striker, Torre and Traore, both going down with leg injuries as 2 of my key strikers. Makwakwina has just been carrying the team on his back since then, so I still have a good striker. I've had almost no other injuries. I wouldn't be surprised if we come in with the lowest injuries of any team in the league. Yeah, but that was almost exclusively that the team wanted, or the new board wanted, a German manager. That's really the only reason I was unpopular with them. Uh, and other than that, I mean, we've been sitting in second place for over a month now, like 4 months. Pretty much solid. No injuries. Yeah. One setback. Like 2 setbacks. Actually, like 2, 3 setbacks the entire season. But it's just been pretty much a steady rise. So this has been hands down my easiest season coaching Amazulu, and probably my easiest season ever in the game. So it's kind of nice to actually be facing some adversity coming up. But anyway, I'm going to log out here. Since Ryan's on, we might be back later with some wrestling. I'm not sure. But thanks for watching, everyone. And hopefully you join us next time for the African final, which is the important part. And have a nice day.